Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Classics, Castle Grayskullman. For the 30th anniversary of Masters of the Universe, Mattel started a subline of action figures, all of which would be brand new original characters. The 6-figure line kicked off with the Fearless Photog, finally making good on the promise of creating an action figure of the winning character created by Nathan Bittner back in the 80s. And the line was scheduled to end with the figure of a brand new Create a Character contest winner. That winner was Daniel Benedict, and his creation, Castle Grayskullman, is now here in plastic form. Castle Grayskullman comes in the same style Masters of the Universe Classics blister card packaging, complete with a nice yellow burst on the front, letting us know that this character was Daniel's creation. The back shows off a selection of other figures released in the Classics line, as well as a brand new bio and piece of artwork for this original character. The living embodiment of Castle Grayskull takes a cue from his namesake in his sculpt and design. His face sculpt is very cool, looking similar to that familiar facade of the castle, complete with sunken-in black eyes and the crown sitting atop his head. He has long, yellowish hair that has some green streaking in it. Now the hair is a little bright, and it's one piece where I wish it was colored slightly differently than it is. The majority of Grayskullman's body is green in color, just like Castle Grayskull. His new armor features a brick-like sculpt, and placed right in the center of his chest is the same skull emblem found on the drawbridge door of Castle Grayskull. His shoulders are a clever reuse of parts from Clawful, while his gloves and his boots are brand new, featuring more of that really cool brickwork design. The overall paint job of the figure is really nicely done. He wears a metallic bronze belt, and the dark green of his body has some wonderful shading that really helps to give him this very dark and ominous look. Oh, hey, what are you doing here? No, don't touch that. Hey, don't touch that. Hey!
Hey guys, this is Pixel Daniel Benedict here, and I want to introduce to you what could quite possibly be the greatest piece of painted plastic ever assembled in China by another human being ever in the whole universe. And as you can see, here we have Castle Grayskullman, the most original name given to any Masters of the Universe character. He's got 2 swords that are beautifully painted. We've got the nice purplish, pinkish, nice color with the copper maroon rust thing.
What do you want?
Nothing, sir.
Looks like someone had an accident.
Okay,
So now let's really take a closer look at the Castle Grayskullman figure. Alright, so Castle Grayskullman, nothing completely new or really that special going on with him as far as his build, his articulation, all of that stuff goes. So let's go ahead and do a quick rundown real quick. Head, of course, is able to turn both left and right and move slightly up and down. One thing I've noticed is that the hair on this is made of a little bit of a stiffer plastic than normal, but it might also be just because it's not quite as long as some of the long-haired guys, so it's not as rubbery, you'll notice, but it doesn't really get in the way at all as far as turning his head left and right goes. Shoulders up and down, forwards, backwards, swivels at the biceps, single joint at the elbow, swivel at your wrist there. You got the torso, the waist cut there, the torso articulation, which still moves up and down pretty good because the armor is that softer armor, which we've seen all along. The legs are able to split, move forwards, backwards. You can get them in a pretty good seated pose. One thing I will note, though, is that the loincloth piece is stiff on this one. It's a little more stiff than some of the ones we've seen recently that were a little bit more flexible, but it's still not too bad. You can still get them seated just fine. Legs swivel, of course. You got the standard knee articulation, you got swivels at the boot cut, and then we have very tight ankle articulation, which is awesome. You can see the peg hole is covered on these new boots here that just have the really cool brick design, and the ankles are very tight on this guy. So he doesn't have the loose, weak ankles. He stands really well. Very cool as far as all his articulation goes. Now, like I mentioned, the armor piece that he's wearing is an armor piece, so it's not sculpted like that. That is just over the standard buck, which is exactly what we've seen all along. If you want to take it off, you'll notice you just got the little tabs on the back there, so you can just pull that off, remove the figure's head, and it just slides right off. And then underneath that, we just got like this dark grayish buck. It does got a little bit of green on it, but you can see the way that the figure is obviously painted as he is the darker gray with the green kind of washed over him, so that's why the buck there is just that standard gray. So then, of course, you can just slide that back on, latch it back on, pop on the head, and there's your Castle Grayskullman.
Castle Grayskullman includes a few accessories. First up is his large gray shield, once again designed after the one seen on the drawbridge door of Castle Grayskull. There is a clip on the back side, so the shield can clip right onto either one of his wrists, though it does fit better on his left wrist because of the position of the clip on the back. He also includes a pair of swords. Now, I really love these. The designs are taken directly from the flag that came with the vintage Castle Grayskull playset. One side of that flag featured green and blue swords, while the reverse side of the flag featured these purple and maroon swords. So Grayskullman here gets one sword from each side of that flag. The swords have a very nice metallic paint job and do a great job of capturing the design right from that vintage flag. Something that I think was a very cool idea. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Here's the new Castle Grayskullman alongside his vintage counterpart. Okay, so there wasn't really a vintage Castle Grayskullman figure, but this is the original figure created by Daniel Benedict as seen in his MOTU commercial. Pretty sweet, right? So there we have it, guys. The Masters of the Universe Classics 30th anniversary line is now complete, giving us 6 brand new characters to add to our collection shelves. 2 of those characters were created by the fans, and I think that is incredibly cool because the fans are the lifeblood of Masters of the Universe. Castle Grayskullman is one of my absolute favorites from this new series. The idea of this figure just seems so perfect that I'm honestly surprised that this was not thought of back in the 80s. A figure whose design is taken directly from the infamous castle just works so well, and I think the Four Horsemen did quite an amazing job of translating Daniel's idea into action figure form. While the sculpt is great, the overall paint job is pretty great, and I'm a huge fan of his accessories. I know a lot of fans submitted some really cool designs to the Create a Character contest, and I'm sure that many of them would have made for some really awesome action figures. Castle Grayskullman is definitely one of those, and I can see exactly why he won. I am very happy to add this figure to my collection. Castle Grayskullman is part of the 30th anniversary subscription and will be available on MightyCollector.com on November 15th, 2012. Until next time...